Hello, welcome back to the reading of Ghost Boys by Jewel Parker Rhodes. Today we're going to be reading pages 165 to 191, and I'm going to pick up somewhere where I made a mistake last week's video. I didn't read page 142 and 143. So if you could go now to page 142 and 143, that would be great. So here I go. Carlos walks Kim home. He snaps a tree branch, then snaps it again. Drumsticks. He taps. Tap taps, buildings, steps, and metal trash cans. Quick, snapping sharp. Both of us like percussion. Maybe we could have saved money to buy drumsticks. Kim skips, dances. Birds skitter and glide. Even the sun seems to smile. My sister is having fun again. She shouts, "Faster, faster!" I dance alongside them. They can't see me. Carlos taps on a trashed television in the street. The plastic cover makes a deep, hollow sound. The glass tube sounds high, sharp. My sister wiggles out of her backpack strap. She twirls and twirls, and an old man sitting on the front stoop claps. Two women snapping pole beans on their porch grin, shout, "Dance, girl!" Other kids spin too. Carlos keeps the rhythm, enjoying sun, music, being alive. I am happy for my sister. Kim stops. Pigtails are undone. One sock has squished, flopped down to her ankle. She's a mess. A smiling mess. Then her smile disappears. Carlos stops tapping, making rhythms. Folks lose interest. Two girls go back to playing jacks. Okay? You okay? Her face is somber, strained, like when we hear shots outside our apartment window, or when the upstairs neighbors fight. You're going to have to tell Grandma. Carlos shrinks. He seems even more out of place. Again, just a Texas kid in Illinois. He hands his tree sticks to a boy with a backwards baseball cap. You're going to have to tell her. Yes, I feel bad for Carlos. So I'm sorry I didn't read that last week. That was actually two very important pages. So I wanted to read them to you this week so we didn't miss out, in case you skipped them like I did. So Kim is dancing, laughing, having fun with Carlos. He's being the perfect big brother. And Kim stops. And then she says to him, "You're going to have to tell Grandma." That's on page 143. That's important because the themes for this week's chapters are taking responsibility, forgiveness, and bearing witness. The first chapter we're going to read is titled Carlos, and it's on page 165. So if you were with me, turn your pages now to page 165. Here we go. And we're going to read this chapter called Carlos. Since school ended, since Kim said you have to tell Grandma, I haven't seen Carlos standing on the school steps, and I think, Carlos. Within seconds, I'm in an apartment bedroom. Carlos is lying on his bed, his hands covering his eyes. He isn't sleeping. Every now and then his right leg twitches and he sniffs. Wind billows flaps the curtains. On Carlos's dressers are candlesticks, a drawing of a toy gun, a sandwich wrapper from the school cafeteria, a drumstick, and another drawing of 2 bathroom stalls with me and Carlos both inside, slapping, pounding, playing percussion on the plastic partition. There's a silver cross dangling from black rosary beads, and a school photograph, me from the 7th grade, cut from the Chicago Tribune. It's a memory altar, like Grandma's, except hers has an upright cross, an old black and white photograph of her Grandpa Lenny. Grandpa's been dead a long time, since I was born, but every Sunday, Grandma lights candles and talks to a picture of Grandpa in a sailor's uniform. He looks good in his bright white sailor cap and bell-bottom pants. Handsome. He's got a wide nose and a big smile. Grandma tells Grandpa about her week. How her feet hurt, how she misses him, how Kim got a 90% in spelling. I'm sure she told him about my dying. Folks are going to think you're crazy, Ma insists, talking to a picture. I hope Carlos will talk to me. I focus. I moved Sarah's book. How hard would it be to lift and let paper fly? Hard. I was angry when I moved Sarah's book. I'm not angry anymore. Watching Carlos alone in his room, nothing much in it except the bed, dresser, and altar, I feel sad. I wish he had toys, books, a drum set. I wish I could give him the posters from my room. Focus, I think. Friends forever, ever, always, amigos. My newspaper photo flutters. It lifts, and then it falls and flutters some more. Friends, forever, always. The paper lifts and flies and soars like a feather, landing softly on Carlos's stomach. He sits up, holds the paper, searches the room. Jerome? I'm standing right in front of him. He stretches out his hand. You forgive me? Carlos, the door opens. You all right? Yes, Poppy. The two look alike. Sable eyes, black hair, black lashes. Neither is tall, but I can tell Carlos is going to be strong like his dad. Go outside, play. Otherwise, I'll think you want to go back to San Antonio. Here's fine. You still worried about that boy? He points at my picture. No, not anymore, says Carlos, staring beyond me. His name was Jerome, my first Chicago friend. Then Carlos starts crying, deep gulping sobs. Carlos, what's wrong? Sitting on the twin bed, his dad holds him. Carlos tells him the whole story, frightened of a new school, bullies, the toy gun. Gun? His dad pulls back angrily, his jaw tightening. He inhales. I think he's going to blast Carlos. Poppy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He closes his eyes. You shouldn't have to go to school scared. I'm not scared anymore, Poppy. Really. Carlos comforts his father. Jerome helped. helps. He looks at the space where I'm standing. You should have told me you were scared. I was ashamed. Never be. You're a good son. Everyone gets scared sometimes. It's how you handle it that matters. His dad closes his eyes again, like he wants to unsee what he's imagining. It could have been you. Carlos gasps. He hasn't thought of himself dead. Terror-stricken, he trembles. He clutches his dad's hand, a small hand clasped tightly by a larger hand. I place my hand on top of theirs. Neither feel me. I've got to tell Jerome's family. Him dying was my fault. Do you want me to come? I know Carlos wants to say yes, come. Instead, he says, I'll do it. His dad hugs him. A good friend knows you didn't mean for anything bad to happen. See, Jerome was a good friend. His family will understand. They'll feel sad, but they'll understand. Really? Really, I whisper. Day of the Dead, Carlos says. I want to honor Jerome. Then Carlos, eyes squinting, looks up. Honor you, Jerome. Always. Maybe he does feel me. He nods. I nod, though he doesn't see. Day of the Dead. Can we do that, Poppy? Bring San Antonio to Chicago? Carlos nods. Sure. We'll honor Jerome for being good to my boy. Carlos's father ruffles his hair. I know you tried being good to him. I did. You did. So, wow, this is a big moment for Carlos. He's laying on his bed in his room, and his dad comes in, and Jerome is there, and he talks about having to take responsibility, right? That's our first theme, taking responsibility. He has to take responsibility for giving Jerome the toy gun. He's filled with guilt, and he's not going to be okay until he takes responsibility, and then he gets what our second theme is. He gets forgiveness, okay? He needs Jerome to forgive him. He needs Grandma and Kim to forgive him. And I believe he needs the family, and most importantly, he needs to forgive himself, okay? So this chapter called Carlos, the theme is taking responsibility and forgiveness. The quotes I pulled out that support these, the first one, I've got to tell Jerome's family, him dying was my fault. That's on page 169. And then talking about forgiveness, Carlos's dad says to him, a good friend knows you didn't mean for anything bad to happen. And that's also on page 169. So now we're going to move to the chapter titled Carlos and Grandma. And again, the themes here are taking responsibility and forgiveness. So I'm going to begin on page 171. From the upstairs window, Kim sees Carlos coming. Her bedroom curtain flutters. Then the front door opens. She must have run fast as lightning. Now, yes, I'll help. No, it's okay. Jerome would want me to. I follow them into the living room. Carlos stops. He grins at Grandma's altar. She's placed Carlos's drawing of me next to her and Grandpa's wedding picture. Ah, there's the moment where we learn what it was that Carlos handed Grandma at his funeral. Whoever predicted that it was a picture or a drawing was correct, and it was a picture of Jerome that Carlos drew. A vase holds fresh pink carnation. Carlos is pleased. Kim guides him to the kitchen. Page 172. Home seems odd, unfamiliar, like a fading dream. I can't imagine living here. Such a tight, confining space, not expansive like the ghost world. I've changed. There's no going back. I'm Ghost Boy now. Grandma, look who's here. Carlos! Grandma stops chopping carrots. She grabs a plate covered in foil. Cookie? No, no thanks. You've got to have one. Sit. Kim, get the milk. Sorrowful, Grandma looks at Carlos as he uncomfortably sits at the table. I stand by the sink. Jerome used to like chocolate chip, says Kim. But these are oatmeal raisin. You can dip them in milk. Thanks, Kim, says Carlos, dipping the cookie in the glass she's given him. He bites. Poor Carlos, his face twists. Just like me and my tuna fish, the last food I ate. His cookie tastes like dirt. Jerome should have brought you home. I was afraid he didn't have friends. Jerome was good, but a bit quiet. He kept to himself. Grandma smiles. You were his good friend. She reaches for Carlos's hand. I was his good friend, says Carlos. He swallows, bursts. I gave him the gun. Stunned, Grandma freezes. I didn't mean any harm. It was just a toy. Kim pats Grandma's back. I'm proud of Carlos. His story isn't easy. I just wanted Jerome to have some fun, play. He'd been nice to me. I wanted to be nice back. Carlos bursts into tears, and then Kim starts crying. I'm sorry, murmurs Carlos. Grandma pulls him and Kim together, and she hugs and she rocks them, bawling. The three of them are holding on to each other tight. The kitchen never seemed so small. I look out the window. I can see them. I can't see them, but I know the ghost boys are down below, roaming, wandering. I turn back to my living family. Grandma, Kim, and Carlos. Grandma sniffs. I'm sorry I let Jerome go play. I should have made him do homework. But he looked so happy, mischievous. I suspected there was something he was hiding. Yet I was happy. He was being a bit naughty. He was so good all the time. I thought, what could he be up to? Why not let him have some fun, says Kim. Jerome never had much fun. Wonderingly, Grandma asks, You knew? You knew Jerome had a toy gun? She tried to stop him, Carlos says hurriedly. Tried to stop me. She said you wouldn't like it. Grandma caresses Kim's cheek. Her thumb wipes away tears. It's okay, Kim. I love you. Can't undo wrong. Can only do our best to make things right. Grandma goes to the cabinet, grabs a tissue, blows her nose. She gives Kim and Carlos tissues too. Carlos, tell me 3 good things. Kim laughs through tears. 3? That's Grandma's magic number. Hearing the three talk reminds me of good times. Carlos is in my place. Three is magical. Kim, Carlos, Grandma. Can I have another cookie first? Asks Carlos. All three sit eating cookies. I expect Carlos to tell Grandma three good things. But instead he says, I'm sorry it took so long for me to tell about the gun. I felt ashamed. Kim was patient. She believed in me. She helped me to be brave. Blushing, Kim didn't say anything. I knew Carlos was a good friend, Kim a good sister, and Grandma big-hearted enough to love everybody. The three of them will help Ma and Pop feel better. I feel better. One more thing to do before I'm gone. Wow. Wasn't that a wonderful, wonderful chapter? It makes me get a little teary, but it's so beautiful. Forgiveness is so beautiful. It's a gift that you give others, and then it's a gift that you give yourself. When you can forgive yourself and forgive other people, it lifts you up and makes you feel so good inside. So here again, Carlos is taking responsibility. He's being brave. And then Grandma and Kim and Carlos all figure out how to forgive themselves. Grandma feels guilty too. She feels responsible because she let Jerome go play. Normally she says, get in your room, do your homework. But that day, she saw he looked excited and she wanted him to have some fun. The same with Kim. She didn't tell about the toy gun because she just wanted Jerome to have some fun. So all three need to feel forgiveness, and together they make that happen. Here's a quote that shows Carlos taking responsibility. I gave him the gun. That was on page 173. And then the most beautiful part in the story, if you can picture it, Grandma bringing them in. They're all hugging. They're crying. They're forgiving each other. Grandma pulls him and Kim together, and she hugs and rocks them. That's also on page 173. Now we're going to move to the chapter titled Silence. The silence that this chapter is talking about is the silence between our character Sarah and her father, who is Officer Moore. Sarah has stopped speaking to her father. She's very angry at him as she's been educating herself about excessive force and police, and feeling very angry at her father for not doing his job properly that evening when he killed Jerome. So I'm going to begin. I'm on page 177. Sarah isn't speaking to her dad. I don't know why, but it bothers me bad. Just as it bothers me her room isn't pink anymore. The walls are still pink, but the comforter is gone. There's only white sheets. Her pillowcases don't have pink and white frills. Her pink stuffed pigs live in the trash can. Her ballerina lamp is in the closet, and she spends hours on the computer. True, her house is big, cool, with air conditioning. Her neighborhood streets are well lit. The sidewalks aren't even cracked. Basketball hoops hang over 2 car garages. It's beautiful, but too quiet. Everyone here lives inside. Televisions glow. If my family lived here, they'd be outside every night. Ma could have a garden instead of her pitiful plants in pots. Grandma wouldn't have to worry. Kim could read with a porch lamp on, and Pop could shoot hoops all night. Sarah! What? Do something else. I'm making a website. End racism, injustice. Did you know black people are shot by cops 2.5 times more than white people? They're only about 13% of the population. In 2015, over 1,000 unarmed black people were killed. It's awful. It is. I stare at the computer screen. Pictures, headlines, articles, video. Sarah's been working hard. Does a page really do anything? Make change? See, here are links. This one is about Emmett Till. This one links to articles about you. The video. Stop. I don't want a link to my death. I'm helping you. I stare. Sarah's paler. Summer is waiting outside, yet she hardly leaves her room. She never plays with friends. Downstairs, her dad drinks. He stares at the TV. Her mom sleeps the day away in bed. You can't help me. You can't help the dead. Sarah is stricken. People should know. So it doesn't happen again? Yes, so it doesn't happen again. Sarah is fierce in a new way. Now she knows murder happens to kids. It still bothers me that her family isn't happy, just like my family isn't happy. It bothers me that the whole world isn't happy. You should talk with your dad. I hate him. Don't you? Do I? Ma, Pop, Grandma taught me that it's wrong to hate. No, I don't hate your dad. You shouldn't either. He killed you. He made a mistake. He's racist. He made a mistake. A bad one. Really bad. Just like it was bad for Mike, Eddie, and Snap to bully me, bully Carlos. They just decided to dislike us. Mournful, I say. It's wrong to be bullied for no reason. It's worse when someone has a reason, like prejudice. How'd your dad get that? Who taught him? You're not prejudiced. He reacted to me without knowing me. He's a bully. It's not that simple, I say, weary. Mike, Eddie, and Snap only had words, fist. Policemen have guns. Sarah shivers, spins her chair back towards the computer. There are so many stories here, so many names. I study the screen. It's ugly. Seeing the names, the pictures of other black boys makes it hard to forget them. Someone will see my name. Maybe remember me. Remember I had a life before I got famous by being shot. I step closer. Sarah, talk to your dad. Something inside him isn't right. Yeah, I know. He's scared, she murmurs. Can you help him not be afraid of black boys? Sarah's head bows. She's crying. Later, I say, closing my eyes, disappearing. I've gotten good at being a ghost, being here, there. Sarah, I say, reappearing. You were right. It matters, you seeing me seeing you, sharing my story. Sarah looks up at me. Her eyes are real. They have depth. They're ice blue, sparkling with tears. If people know more about other people, she says, maybe they won't be scared. Like you. Like you aren't even scared of ghosts. Sarah laughs. You're going to tell the whole world about me? Yes, and about anyone else hurt out of fear. Cops must get scared a lot. But they shouldn't get more scared just because someone's black. Sarah twists her hands, inhales, exhales. She speaks quickly. Some people are glad my dad wasn't charged. Part of me is glad too. He's my dad. I love him. He made a mistake. But him and his partner made it worse when they didn't try to help you. Patrol cars have med kits. She stops. Why didn't he try and stop your bleeding? Looking directly at me, she's begging me for an answer. I don't know. Her look reminds me of Kim. How hopeful she can look when she wants me to help her. But Sarah's got to help herself. Tell me 3 good things about your dad. Remembering, she relaxes. Dad loves me and Mom so much. He used to carry me on his shoulders, bouncing me, holding my legs until we reached the pumpkin patch or the beach, Disney's Sleeping Beauty Castle. I loved how he carried me. When I was riding high on his shoulders, I saw the world. What else? He takes me ice skating. Not lately, but he has. He doesn't know how he hates it. He doesn't know how I know he hates it. Sarah dips her head, then raises an eyebrow at me. Dad loves being a cop. He wanted to be a cop because his dad was a cop. Then her voice breaks. He's gotten awards for bravery, saving lives. How could he mess up? Sarah, talk to your dad. I'm scared. Seems like everybody's scared, except dead. I'm not scared anymore. Not of bullies, of cops, of dying. I was me, a good kid, like Emmett, like hundreds of others. Others, including Sarah's dad and Emmett's killers, lived life wrong. I barely got to live. Emmett told me that the men who killed him never believed they did wrong. An all-white jury found them innocent. The judge said there wasn't enough evidence to charge Officer Moore with a crime, but he's not celebrating. Is that progress? Sarah knows she has to talk to her dad. She probably won't like what she hears, but she has to hear it. I see images of Sarah, grown, writing books, protesting for change, teaching people how to see other people, teaching her kids, imagine Sarah, a mom, to learn, not judge. Sarah, make people listen. See, really see people. Make sure no other kids die for no reason. I want to say more, but I don't. Sarah's going to be fine. She's a white girl, but she's not white girl. She's Sarah. Me and all the other boys on the computer screen have names. Jerome Roger, Tamir Rice, Laquan McDonald, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Jordan Edwards. We're people, black kids. Color shouldn't make anybody scared. Is it because slavery happened? Is that why some whites are afraid of black people? I don't know. Wake up, people. I want to tell everyone. Fear, stereotypes about black boys don't make the world better. Quivering slightly, Sarah says, "Bye, Jerome. Bye, Sarah. Who knew I'd make a death after life friend? I won't forget you. Won't let anybody else either. You do that, Sarah." It's okay that Sarah's still troubled. She should be. It's how Sarah helps herself and the world. I linger outside the house feeling restless. It isn't over yet. "Dad," Sarah yells, mournful yet demanding. On the outside, in the yard, I can see Sarah, inside, running down the steps. Cautious, she approaches her dad on the couch. He looks dazed and in pain. Dad. He spreads his arms wide. Sarah wraps her arms around his neck, burrowing her face against his chest. Officer Moore kisses the top of her head 3 times. Sarah pulls back, arm's length. She stares at her dad. Help me with my project. Her dad looks like he's been punched in the gut. His face loses color. About the young man I killed? Others too, who died because of mistakes, prejudice. Her dad clutches her. He can't speak. I can see Sarah's face, but I can see her dad's. His tightening jaw, eyebrows rising and falling, tears, mouth puckering, brow creasing, his face contorting with too many emotions. Eyes closed, he exhales. Hugs Sarah, closer. He kisses her hair. Sure, he whispers, crying. Sure, I love you. That's what I needed to see, hear from both Sarah and her dad. So this is a big chapter 2. We're really at the climax of the story, and everything is starting to come into a resolution. Things are getting figured out. And in the chapter called Silence, Sarah finally breaks the silence between herself and her father, and she's trying to break the silence between these stories of black boys being killed and the whole world by creating her website. Here's the quote right here that shows that what Sarah is doing is called bearing witness. That's the last theme that we're talking about today in these pages. She says, you were right. It matters. You seeing me seeing you. Sharing my story. That's what Jerome says to her when he comes back into her room. And he lets her know that what she's doing is worthwhile and that she should keep doing it. This is the last time Jerome and Sarah are going to see each other. They're finally able to part with one another. They've both helped each other change into better people, better souls. Okay. The last chapter we're going to read is called The Day of the Dead, and I'm on page 187. November 1st, All Saints' Day for Grandma. The Day of the Dead for the Rodriguezes. Both families are having a picnic, right on my grave. Ma and Pop look better, less strained. Grandma, Carlos, and Kim are joyful, decorating my tombstone, laying chicken legs and cornbread on my mound. Carlos's parents have brought tamales. I wish I could taste them. His mother wears a ruffled dress and pink flowers in her hair. There's a baby girl in a carriage. A pink headband with a knit flower circles her head. Carlos's ma is especially kind to Ma. His pa shakes hands with my pop. Grandma, Carlos, and Kim talk to me like I'm standing right in front of them, which I am. Though they can't really see me, they know it. Kim tells me Sarah sent her a book, Little Women. It's good. I imagine all the sisters are black. Jerome says hello to Grandpa and Lenny for me. Grandma traces my name, then Grandpa's name. I love you both. She lights candles. The Day of the Dead, says Carlos. Your day to play, Jerome. Just one day. But I'll be here next year too, and the next, and the next. I won't ever forget you. Grinning, Carlos lays a basketball where he thinks my hand might be inside my casket. Playing ball with your friend, amigo. I just might. A Ghost Boy tournament. Grandma squeezes Carlos, unfolds a paper square. This means so much to me, Carlos. I lean over Grandma's shoulder. It's a picture of me. I can tell by my eyes, my curly hair. But I'm a skeleton face, big eyes, and a shrunken skull with rainbow designs. It's not meant to be frightening like Halloween, says Carlos. Mexicans honor the dead. Skull pictures celebrate our loved ones. I want to draw too. Can you show me? Asks Kim. Sure, it's easy. Take one. Mrs. Rodriguez, Carlos's mom, unwraps plastic from a tray. Little sugar skulls are lined up in rows. The Day of the Dead celebrates life. It does, too. Sweet candy, good food. It's comforting seeing my family and Carlos's family together. Pop loves the tamales. Carlos's Pop likes Ma's potato salad. It's good seeing Kim be friends with Carlos, hearing Grandma murmur how she misses me, how she remembers how much I like video games. I'm going to give Jerome's games to Carlos. Carlos grins and shouts, yes! Maybe sometimes Jerome can watch you play. I'd like that, he says. Understanding each other perfectly, the two clasp hands. Living, the dead are close. Kim licks a skull. No, don't eat it, Kim. It's for decoration. Carlos places 6 sugar skulls on top of my headstone. One tiny skull has my name on it. Grandma lights candles on my and Grandpa Lenny's graves. Emmett appears by my side. You're remembered. We all are. One by one, the ghost crew appears. I'm at home with the wisps of boys filling the cemetery. Will the murders stop? One day, got to believe, Jerome. You've got to believe. Emmett looks like an old man, even older since I've known him. His weariness scares me. Though a ghost, will sadness make me older and older? I look around. I realize ghost boys, thousands of ghost boys, are trying to change the world. That's why we haven't said goodbye. Why we aren't really gone. Emmett, each of us has someone who sees them, don't we? Someone to talk to? Emmett nods. Sometimes more than one. Only the living can make change. Who'd you talk to? Who saw you? Thorogood. Thorogood Marshall, a lawyer at my killer's trial. He won lots of civil rights battle. He became a judge. Sarah's going to do good, I say confident. Carlos and Kim, too. Time to go. Where? Wandering. Till next time. Gotta help the dead speak. Ghost boys stick together, I say firmly. At least till there aren't any more murders, answers Emmett. Till skin color doesn't matter, only friendship, kindness, understanding, peace. That's my wish, too. All right, so that was the last chapter called Day of the Dead. And this chapter is absolutely all about bearing witness. The Rodriguezes and Jerome's family, the Rogers, are in the cemetery and they're remembering Jerome and not allowing themselves to forget his life and who he is. And Emmett Till explains to Jerome, and Jerome has really realized this on his own, that his new family are the Ghost Boys and that they're going to be wandering till next time. Gotta help the dead speak. That means that they serve a purpose and that their purpose is to help people who are going to speak out and bear witness against what has been going on with young black boys being killed unjustified and with excessive force. Just like Emmett Till and just like Jerome. So that is the end of today. Please go back and answer the 5 questions. This week there's more quotations in your questions, and you need to provide the analysis for the quotes that I've shared with you in the questions. Good luck, and I know you've got this.